appalling outcomes. Well, SCOPA chairperson Themba Godi joins us now from our Cape Town studio for more. Mr. Godi, good evening. Thanks very much for your time. You had the AG again lamenting the fact that even when they engage with departments and provinces, including, of course, as he said, oversight bodies over these issues, no one seems to care. He even suggested that there was an element of defiance even.
Yeah, no, true. I think what is failing in our constitutional democracy, it is the executive branch. The courts are able to hand down judgments on issues brought before them. Parliament is able to exercise its oversight of responsibilities and make recommendations to the executive in terms of what needs to be done to correct its failings. That is where the major problem is, that the Directors General as well as the ministers just do not act, not just on the recommendations of the Auditor-General, but equally on the recommendations that come from Parliament arising from our work with the reports of the Auditor-General.
Now, I mean, the Northwest and the Free State received a particular mention. Were you surprised?
Well, let me say worried, because if you look at social development, if you look at health, these are departments that take a huge chunk of the provincial budget. So if these are not in order, then it means that you are not having proper accountability for a lot of money. But of course, not surprised because of a whole range of other things happening on the side that show to glaring weaknesses in governance and especially compliance with legislation and processes in procurement.
Well, of course, I mean, the Northwest and the Free State weren't the only ones looking at that table that was presented by the AG, looking at the underspending of much-needed grants. For example, you had provinces like the Eastern Cape, like KwaZulu-Natal, not spending on projects they probably need more than others. We're talking here about areas like maths, science and technology, education. We're talking about social work. We know how poor these rural provinces are compared to others and the numbers of people that they have to carry. We're talking about areas such as learners with profound disabilities, as well as public works, which often means infrastructure. I mean, why is this picture not getting any better year in and year out?
I think if you look at the totality of the areas that the Auditor-General looked at, there are very, very few areas where you had minimal improvement. Otherwise, you have a general picture of decline in governance. And I hope that one day you can have a COCTA here. You can have the Department of Public Service and Administration. You can have the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, because these are the departments that have an oversight role, as well as National Treasury, on all these other departments and entities, to explain why is it that despite the information at their disposal from the Auditor-General and the work of Parliament, there is no movement. If anything, we see a regression, and that regression actually manifests itself in the lack of services for our people. And when you see service delivery protests day in and day out, the report of the Auditor-General actually confirms that our people are right, because they are not getting the services that are due to them because of poor planning, because of lack of capacity, and because of corruption.
Well, I mean, it would seem that all they do really is regurgitate the reports of the Auditor-General. I mean, a few months ago, we heard from the Minister responsible for local government telling us what we know, the fact that the situation is in fact very bad. Now, do you think that the Public Audits Amendment Bill, which is currently being, going through the parliamentary process, will resolve these problems as it deals with consequence management? Or do you think that even that law won't help much if from what we are seeing now, there is no willingness on the people who are supposed to lead these these departments and entities to actually do something about a situation they know very well?
Well, Vuyo, let me say that the amendment bill to the Audit Act has already been passed by both the National Assembly and the NCOP. It is lying in on the desk of the President for more than 2 months now. All it is awaiting is his signature. Why he's not signing it into law really boggles the mind. But let me hasten to say that I have consistently said, and I want to state it here, that any minister who voted in favor of this bill in Parliament must be ashamed of himself, because they were actually effectively saying they are failing to do their work and are therefore transferring that responsibility to the Auditor-General. It is the Auditor-General who must now chase after officials who are wasting public money, when constitutionally it is their responsibility. But we have confidence, we are hopeful, we have a very capable and professional Auditor-General and staff. And today he indicated to us that whatever work he's going to do, it also entails him reporting to us that these are the matters that I've referred back to the DGs, these are the matters that I've referred to law enforcement for investigation. So what the Act has done is that it takes the prerogative away from the HOD to refer matters for investigation and vest that in the Auditor-General. And we're confident that the Auditor-General will be able to do it.
Okay, Mr. Makwetu, thanks very much for your time. And that is SCOPA Chairperson Makwetu, of course, not so hopeful that even the Public Audits Amendment Bill, when it becomes law, will in fact make a great deal of a difference, given how a lot of people, including ministers, tend to shy away from their core